Video will concern a subject matter that got my channels, two of my channels flagged at the same time, but it was because Reddit had information about the subject. Next, on YouTube, we have some resources we're going to be talking about here. Videos taken in various areas of the world act as a replacement for Google Street Views that have been eliminated. By just wiping through the video, we get almost the same results as we would have if we were going through Google Street View. Many videos like this were made of various locations. People went out of their way to go wherever they wanted to record and did not as good, but at this point, beggars can't be choosers, good enough representations of what we would have for a Google Street View. Is anybody know of a project where people made backup copies of this specific train trestle, former train trestle, the Monon High Bridge or Deer Creek High Bridge, or any other places like that that are being deleted willy-nilly by Google's map system? Anyway, is there a playlist of these things? Should I make one? Please give me your input. Also want to point out, again, I mean, really, it is seriously almost as good as having a literal 3D Street View. It's actually finer grain. Just saying. I mean, we can just use YouTube for this stuff. Next, Google Earth. Earth.google.com resource of images. You just activated. I did a video about it. Here we go with these images here. These can be used for forced perspective effect so that we can get access to, hey, what are the dimensions of everything on the ground, on the bridge? For those of you who want to do estimates on heights of certain people, that sort of thing. Now, I want to point out a couple of things here, if I can get an image, at least one image that does a good job doing justice to this thing. Do you see these cross braces? This is a fairly massive object. I mean, this is still walking resolution here. These are human dimensions that we deal with. There's a human for scale, no banana for scale. There are some people taking advantage of the lack of information, the vacuum of information, to make various claims that are nonsensical. So I'm going to cover that partially today. Someone made a claim that someone named Powell, who is quote-unquote accused of doing a Google Street View around the time there was an incident at this bridge, somehow did a weird selfie. I want to point out the cockamamie nature of this and how you just have to think a little bit. The claim is that this image, which is presumably one of many Google Street View or Google Map photos done by Mr. Powell on the bridge, pointed out that he was under the bridge on that day. You'll notice the red crayon-like depiction here. And then the inset that's supposed to point to this area of the image, which shows a line going this way, and another one, presumably at a 90-degree angle to it, being a metal beam. But no, that has to be someone's arm. Meanwhile, part of the image the person seems to have gone out of their way to at least subconsciously cover up, shows a beam coming up at an angle, just like this one, and then going across, like that one, demonstrating that that was a beam, not a person. Also, the scale is a bit odd because that would make a person that was around 12 feet tall. Or bigger, because they're claiming that the person's way back here. Again, this is a claim that Julian Powell, I think his name is, or the name escapes me, Mr. Powell, did a Google Street View photo from here, went down here and got caught on image. I think it's petering out that people are making channels with this kind of content just to troll. But I wanted to point out another thing. This image here, if this was actually taken on that day, does anybody know where this image is, even though it's covered with this garbage? The individual who put up the video did not provide any links or explanation as to where we're supposed to find this image from. And this is considered acceptable by a lot of people, quote-unquote, in the community. Not this community, not on this particular subject, but in the subject of YouTube disclosure videos, where people put up a video that doesn't tell you where they get their information from. This is like the UFO community demanding, screaming, memeing about UFO disclosure, and then hiding their evidence because they want to get paid at some convention of UFO believers. It's kind of on that same par. This low grade of stuff. So I'm kind of asking, Can we make a cross-reference list of channels that we ignore if they ever do this even once? I'm not demanding people be held to some high standard here. I mean, just don't do things that just make it to where we can tell that there's no reason to watch your channel. I mean, we don't have a rating system or a plug-in for this, but maybe we should. If anybody knows of anything, please give a suggestion. But if anybody looked this up, no, there isn't a picture of any particular person under the bridge that anybody's been able to provide me for any reason. Every claim of a person being seen under the bridge by Google Street Views or whatever around the time of the murders, every single time I look it up, they refuse to even tell me where they get their images from. They won't back up their own data. They say, oh, go do your own research, etc. And then they don't give us the links. This is such a standard behavior that every time it happens, I immediately say, I can't trust that person. And I think everybody else should too. But then again, it led me to kind of do videos where I talk smack about some of the YouTubers that maybe I shouldn't have. Simply because they had one video they didn't provide the links, and the rest of the time they did. But anyway, input please. Next. I don't know if this person's got their head up their butt, but doing this as your thumbnail for a video puts you in my shit can department. I'm sure this is a channel that is not obsessing on the subject and just does this about every single story that they run into. Maybe not. But this one included a very specific wording in their title. Extended Snapchat video. If you look that up, you get 8 results. Literally, this is such a special content marker. This is such a meme that only 8 incidents happen. And it's of this video here and people talking about it. And only one other thing. People mentioning extended Snapchat video as an enabled feature on Snapchat at the time, sometime. And the other one is about Major E. Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, where there's a very long version of a Snapchat video called the extended Snapchat video. The claim here is the bridge guy had a gun. I go over details of the extended Snapchat video, and then this video talks about interviews about what people heard in the long version of the Snapchat video that the police department, I'm going to say stubbornly, won't just release. Now, I understand, again, we all can look up the reasons they gave for not releasing it. They're in for the long haul, but they're counting on the guilty party coming forward. And maybe they have some reason for it. But this is a dumb, I'm sorry, nobody should tolerate that as a possible outcome. That's not a scenario that would work. Meanwhile, everybody out there probably would like to know who did it. And most importantly, people aren't, I'm not saying this individual is exploiting the vacuum of information, but having a vacuum of information where we don't have whatever the person's talking about means that people can make claims about these things based on hearsay or, going through the grapevine or the game of telephone that happens on the internet, and be able to get away with plausible deniability and just exploit the crap out of it. And that bugs me. Monsters Under Our Bed, I don't believe Monsters Under Our Bed, the YouTube channel, is exploiting this, but there isn't any extended Snapchat video or audio that people have available. It does exist, apparently, because people have claimed it who are close to the case and have said that they've heard it. However, there is no transcript of it, which would be easy to do. There is no data from it. And yes, they're keeping tight-lipped about it because they say constantly we could catch the person if we catch them slipping up. And that feeds into a subculture and, hell, a small cottage industry of exploiting the subject. So now, Monsters Under Our Bed, there'll be one more entry, less than 10, that has extended Snapchat video that's on topic, asking you, where's your sources and why don't you cite them, and where is a master copy of the sources and assertions about this quote-unquote extended Snapchat video. So this is the RFI RFC compilation. Are there playlists out there of content of this bridge or any other crime scene video playlists that people have access to? And again, I made a video on how to copy these things. Is there a set of playlists for all the videos that were available? And should we make backups? Because YouTube and Google are flagging crazy these days. Next, again, reminding everybody, you do have a resource in earth.google.com as a replacement for the Google Street Views. And again, some of these videos are a good replacement, or at least our only replacement for the Google Street Views we're missing. or other images that have been suppressed. Next, this claim here is bogus because what the person's looking at is a metal girder and it's not an arm. There was no one under the bridge, especially the person who is apparently taking the photo from the perspective we're doing this from. And I'd like a link to wherever this picture came from. That way we could confirm or deny whether or not this image was taken on the day. I don't believe it was. Maybe it was. Maybe it was taken by Mr. Powell, but that means Powell can't be under the bridge over here. That doesn't make any sense. And yes, of course, it's a channel that closed off any comments in the video, so there's no point in even linking to it. Next, Abby said someone had a gun. That's not something that anybody else has corroborated. And again, that's from, quote unquote, the extended Snapchat video that has not been released. And until it's released, people can say this kind of stuff or have this in their thumbnails and exploit it. And I'm getting tired of it. And does anybody know of a compilation of data, because the Reddit one is gone, again, people are censoring, for what was supposed to be in the full Snapchat video as far as we know, because I haven't found one. Okay, well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. If you have any information about what I've ranted about, please post it below. Good day.